Oh shit, what was it? Dumpling? That Willa Dean something, the big girl.
Yeah.
You'd recognize her if there was another movie she did too. I can't think of the name of it. Patty Cakes.
Oh yeah, we watched Dumpling, right? Isn't that what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we'll give it a watch. We're gonna watch that at some point.
That last one though, out of nowhere. I mean, I imagine you've listened to the Mountain Goats.
I'm familiar with the Mountain Goats. Yes.
Yeah. They just happened to paint. I didn't even see his name mentioned, and all of a sudden there's John Darnielle, the lead singer. I'm like, oh crap!
Yeah, it does look good. It's so that show is shot in Ulster County, where my house is.
Ulster County, nice. I know that place.
It was on. Suzanne follows like Ulster County Instagram, like. And there was like a whole article about all the locations they shot in. It's pretty cool.
What show is this?
Poker Face.
Poker Face.
That Natasha Lyonne thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me the name of this movie one more time. I'm not gonna remember. There's something wrong with the children.
Correct.
Yes. You could write it down like that. Just throwing it out as like a suggest.
Or idea. Pull it up on IMDb, maybe.
No.
Yeah.
Let's have you guess the characters' names as we go along.
Well, that's definitely gonna happen.
Yeah, I think I remember Ben.
Which one? Which one was the orange one?
Yes, the orange one.
I swear to God, I think the settings are wrong on your.
I was machine. On a laptop and I tried on both. Dude, save it, because I have a fucking rant about it. I'm trying to get the stream out quick here, and then we're good.
We only got one tweet.
We have some instas. I figure it won't be a long show tonight.
Yeah.
Keep it tight. Real tight.
I found Zombie Dust Tall Boys today. I was excited.
Yeah. I've seen them. That's like gonna get you in trouble.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if you had like two of them.
Yeah.
Okay. It's out there. It's out there. Let me just email.
Is this an original script? Is it based on something? I'll pull up.
Don't know.
I think it's an original. There's no reference on the Wikipedia page to it being based on anything.
Oh, it looks like it was made for Epix.
Epix now MGM Plus. They've been doing there's a lot of like MGM Plus branding around the city, like new shows and shit that are coming. I had no idea what it was, and then now that makes more sense.
MGM Plus, huh? It's just a streaming thing.
It's actually a linear channel that used to be called Epix or Epix. It's now owned by Amazon because Amazon owns MGM, which owns FKA Epix. We can talk about it on the show if you want. I did read there is
it's a good idea.
There is a Blumhouse Epix deal that I was reading up on. Okay. The Blum. Who won't they make movies for is the real question.
He's a real movie slut, that Blum.
You know what he's a slut for? The money.
I was gonna say he's a rich slut.
He's a real he's a real money slut. We know.
Ain't no problem in my book.
Yeah, more power to him. We're getting fun movies out of it, so.
Well, most
not necessarily this one.
He's batting at his bat. We'll talk about it. Yeah. We'll talk about it. Okay, I'm in position. I am ready. Stand by. Thank you for your patience, friends.
I'm not gonna say you're welcome.
Because you weren't being patient.
Barely.
Barely containing your white hot rage. Hey, we're doing this on Tuesday for you, buddy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to maybe not a really exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror, I would call this week. We're here tonight to discuss a movie called There Is Something Wrong with the Children. And if you would like Eric, that's me, to remember your movie title, it should be less words. Is I think my number one thing about this movie. But we'll get
It's
to
a good tip.
We'll get to the rest. Joining me tonight, first up from Manhattan, New York City, the man with the lustrous hair over here. Please welcome John Schnars to the show.
You can have a lot of words, but they should make a fun acronym.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's another
Like,
strategy.
Like
for
hate,
titling.
hates. Remember that?
Hates. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Hashtag hates. House at the end of the street. I remembered that
I
one.
wish I could forget
I
it.
remembered that one.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Next up on the show from Indiana, please welcome Casey to the show.
Hello.
If you were watching the live stream tonight, you'd see Casey's weed hat he has on.
Can you give me one plot point and or actor from Hates?
Yeah,
would be-
Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, I knew there was like some.
Right?
Okay.
Doesn't
Maybe
that
there was
sound-
I was like Micah Monroe or whatever.
I think it was
but
Jennifer
I don't think-
Lawrence. I think it was like when she was blowing up.
That was like the one she made before she became
Yeah, no,
famous, and then
I-
they dusted off and were like, "Whoa!"
No,
Yeah.
I
found this.
actually think that's exactly what happened, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's totally possible. Yeah. Phew. It's actually a good comp for this movie. We'll come back to
Yeah,
that.
man, that fell out of my brain. I don't really know where that came from. So anyway, we're here tonight to talk about. I was literally just about to say hashtag hates. There's something wrong with the children, so let's do it. Let's take a quick break and discuss.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. From the prime time. Main feature.
John, you were doing some reading about this here, in the pre-show. This is a Blum.
Blumhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Blumhouse. Yeah, it's interesting because
Do we
when
know
you
if
watch
this
the movie,
was this a Blumhouse produced or acquired? Do we know?
no, produced. So
Oh, okay.
in the title, like we watched this, or I watched it yesterday. The credits come up and it's Blumhouse and Epix,
Mm.
which Eric, I don't know, you were based on the conversation, you were not familiar with Epix.
I've heard it. Is that a streaming thing?
It is I believe linear. I mean, maybe there might be a
it's
streaming
like
offering.
Oh, it's like a old-timey cable channel. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Wow. Back in the 1900s, we had those.
And I think what it is now, it has been recently rebranded, since this movie was made,
Huh.
because the poster for the film, which you can find on IMDb, says MGM Plus
Mm.
as the co-producer, but the actual film itself has Epix in the
Interesting.
credits. So,
Is MGM?
yeah. So
is this another thing I'm gonna have to pay for, John? Good lord.
what is
MGM
if you know Casey,
what is it-
sometimes
what is
you
MGM
can find these things.
What does MGM Plus have that I'm gonna need?
Well, so MGM was famously acquired by Amazon in the last 2 years. So MGM Plus is just a cable channel. Like if you have cable, you probably get it. But it's owned by Amazon. What I don't know is like if you have Amazon Prime, is it like a little icon or something on
Is
there.
it one of those
I sort
stupid
of
ones
assume-
that you have to pay more? Yeah, like pay more for through Prime or
So-
something. Like
so is this
Stars.
the-
Stars is the bane of my existence because they will often just buy up grips of horror movies and then you can't even like rent them on Amazon, which drives me
Yeah.
insane.
It's pretty bad. Is this the first case we've had of a cable channel stealing the Plus moniker?
Maybe, I don't know. I haven't tracked it.
And
I haven't
everybody-
had cable in a
I
while.
feel like
so-
everybody's on
Me
the
either.
plus, on the plus lately.
But based on what I was reading in 2021, the Blum signed something like an 8-film deal with, at the time, Epix. I think this is the second of the 8. There was another movie that I didn't recognize the name. It is importantly done through Blumhouse Television, which is, they have like a film studio and then they have a TV.
Blumtel.
Blumtel, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. BT for
I
short.
like, I like their stuff.
So yeah.
Blum Vision.
Yeah, exactly.
That Blum. He does. He makes a lot of stuff. He likes money.
are-
He likes money, as we were discussing.
He does. I
pre-show.
mean, look, he's really good at making it. So
Who doesn't?
God bless him.
Yeah.
I think. Well, you also. I think we talked about this on the show, but you saw he and James Wan have combined their production companies.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Good
one.
lord, what's gonna come of that? What was James Wan's?
I forget what it was called, but he's made. I mean, obviously James Wan's made a ton of shit. Yeah.
I know you didn't watch
don't
it,
know. I'd
John,
have to
but
look it
when Halloween Kills was coming out, the Blum, I think it was Kills.
Mhm.
The Blum went on The Last Drive-In and got interviewed by
Oh.
Joe Bob.
Oh yeah, I would.
And
I would
dude,
watch that.
he is just the smarmiest Los Angeles motherfucker you could ever imagine. Like he tried to dress down and be cool because this was like the last drive-in, and like he's just not capable. Like he's just so stuck up in LA, it's unreal. It oozes from him.
Look, man, this is our patron saint of horror films right now. You
Yeah,
gotta,
that's fine.
Yeah.
James Wan's company was Atomic Monster Productions, which I
Ah.
assume they're sort of keeping the name alive for the time being, but at some point it might just get rolled into.
Is that what all of the like Waniver stuff was under? Because I don't even recognize that. That's weird.
Correct.
Interesting.
Correct.
I
I
thought
wouldn't-
that was the Cloverfield guy.
I would need to see the little.
That's Bad Robot. Casey, that's J.J.
I would need to
Abrams, yeah.
see his little like theater animation to know like what if I remember.
You would 100% recognize
Yeah.
it. It looks like the guy from BioShock.
Okay. Yes, I do. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like a skinnier guy from BioShock.
I couldn't beat Bioshock. Side note,
Never played it.
it's good.
I think you can get it on Switch now.
Couldn't.
Maybe I
beat
should.
it. I did beat Bioshock 3 though. That game was cool.
Congrats, I guess.
I liked it. No,
Um,
no big
do
deal.
you want a word today? Are we doing word or like
Sure.
should
Hey,
we
John.
just?
What's the word? Wrong one. Excuse me for enjoying your conversation, John.
He's not even drinking, folks.
This is called a podcast.
The word of the day is whippersnapper.
Mm.
Yeah, that's WHIPPERSNAPPER. The dictionary says it's one word. You can't. I believe it is still appropriate to hyphenate. Give you a definition: a young and inexperienced person considered to be presumptuous or overconfident. Whippersnapper. Love the etymology here. 17th century it's English. From what I read, this is I'm gonna cite the website
Is
grammarist.com.
this from like when they used to whip children?
No, in like the 17th century, there were just like layabout kids who had nothing better to do and would like snap whips.
What?
So you were just hanging out
Oh.
on the streets, snapping a whip.
Just
and
like
that
a
was,
little orphan with a whip.
Yes.
Wow.
I was going to read here. A whip snapper was a 17th century term for a young man with nothing better to do than hang about idly snapping a whip.
I'm surprised
is
they
it
Didn't they do that?
whippersnapper?
Didn't they do that in The Simpsons when Abe Simpson had the tomato on his rope from a belt or something
I'm
like
surprised they
The,
didn't.
the onion on his belt.
Surprised they didn't
Yeah.
put those kids to work. They were going to be dead by the time they were 20 or something, right?
Well,
Get him out there, living life. That's wild.
the term persists.
I'll tell you what, I was really hoping you'd give me the origins of Swinger tonight, but this was pretty good. I like it.
I mean, we can save that for a future show.
John, tell me about There's Something Wrong with the Children.
Oh, you got it. I thought you were
So
going to call it
close.
Hates, but
Hashtag hates.
this is as we were discussing. It's a Blumhouse MGM Plus collab.
There isn't even
and-
there isn't even a vowel in it, so you can't turn it into a hashtag. It just doesn't work.
That is true. No vowels. Good work, Eric. Identifying consonants and vowels.
Thank you.
Directed by Roxanne Benjamin. It looked like her second feature. She also directed on a couple of the anthologies. The one XX, which I think we covered on the show, although I did not watch. XX, did you guys do that? No? Yes? Maybe? Great. Thanks for confirming.
Yeah, it was fine.
And
say
then she also did one of the segments on Southbound, which we definitely did on the show. I did watch that. So yeah, she's a director. Written by T.J. Simfel and David White. This is it's a small film. Features two couples, Ellie and Thomas, and then Ben and Maggie or Margaret. Ben and Ellie are brother and sister, and Margaret and Ellie are best friends. They are on a weekend getaway to a mountain Airbnb situation, sort of in the woods. And they go on a hike. There's a weird, dilapidated building that they decide to crawl around in. Inside the building, there's this pit that is magic, and the kids look into the pit and maybe become evil. Unclear.
They get pet cemeteried just by looking at it.
Yes.
Or by jumping in it. Discuss.
Yeah,
Did
well,
they jump in it? I don't know.
possibly. So then from there, the film kind of transitions out to this, I don't even know, mental health thriller where
Mental health
Ben
thriller.
starts Ben starts to see the kids doing evil things, and they sort of are like taunting him, but no one else sees them doing these things. It is gradually revealed that Ben has struggled with mood swing. I don't know. He's on mood stabilizers.
No,
what
he's
do we think?
he's
Lithium,
on
wasn't it?
lithium, and they mention him being manic, so he's probably bipolar.
Okay,
Would be my guess.
sounds good.
It's my own personal research, John.
Which,
As someone who's
but
been on lithium before.
it's also one of those things where it's like, I mean, I guess then it's not that even that he was hallucinating necessarily. I don't know. He's untrustworthy. He's not trusted by the other adults.
No, really, the only thing that they ever mention that, like, they mentioned him having like manic episodes, but we don't see it. He seems just like a chill dude to me. But
No, and
Yeah.
well,
That's what
they
lithium will
mentioned
do,
that he
yeah.
lost his job, which all happened sort of
Yeah.
before this. I don't know.
it's like Bradley
There-
Cooper in that movie, except maybe he killed a kid, but he didn't because we saw that he didn't.
What Bradley Cooper?
Silver Linings Playbook. That's what.
Oh, well, all right. So I don't know. He does kind of kill the kid, I think. Like,
Yeah,
in any event,
he was evil. All bets are off of that. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it is. We
Once
see
a
the
kid
kids
is-
being
once a
evil,
kid
but
is-
none of
Once a kid
the
is
other
pet
adults see it.
cemeteried.
Yeah.
Killing is fine.
I don't know. So the movie unfolds from there. There's a lot of interpersonal drama that is explored in fits and starts. And eventually people start to die. There
Love
you
it.
go.
That's pretty good. Casey, what'd you think? Did you wear the weed hat while watching?
No, I did not. They, it's funny. I completely missed the fact that Ben and Ellie were brother and sister. That makes a lot more sense now.
I'm like 90% sure on
I
that.
didn't catch that at all. Which
Yeah.
Well, why were they calling him Uncle Ben if he wasn't there? Like,
some
Just 'cause-
some people do
I don't
that
know.
with close friends.
My daughter calls my best friend Rick, Uncle Rick. So
now, in a movie without context, I guess that's presumptuous.
yeah,
I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but I think they're brother and sister. But then Margaret and Ellie are definitely best friends, so it's also I don't know. So whatever.
yes. So ultimately,
It's immaterial to the movie either way.
Yeah, it is immaterial to the movie. So I seen like one trailer for this, and I didn't know for sure what we were getting into, but my first reaction was, "Oh, I know all these actors," which was cool because we had Amanda Cruz that you'd know from Silicon Valley. You had
that's
Carlos Santos, we've seen a couple times. Zach Gilford is a big Mike Flanagan person, and Alicia Wainwright, which I know from Raising Dion, which is a cute kids series if you're curious. My first thought was that, and as we're getting into it, ultimately this movie is kind of a mess. It's all over the place, but I was entertained. I'll give them that. There was parts of this movie that I just kind of got sucked into. Didn't blow me away, but I was interested, and I really liked the child actors in this movie. I thought they were fun, especially once we get to the turn. There's other things we can talk about later in the show, and we get past some spoilers and stuff, and they give us a glimpse of what's going on here and what, may be happening to the kids. And I thought, well, that's a little silly. And then that kind of tarnished my enthusiasm a little bit as we got into it. But otherwise, this is not bad for like a B movie you would expect to find on streaming. It's not a blockbuster. It's not something I would pay to go see in the theater, but stumbling across on cable, I didn't regret my watch, but there's definitely a hell of a lot of problems to discuss.
I feel like we need to update, because I still think that about like the cable watch. I don't think that exists anymore. We need to update it for modern times. It's like hungover Netflix pick when you want to watch something that's not too loud.
Yeah,
that's kind of the analogy. John, what do you think?
I disliked this movie fairly substantially in the end. I mean, so I knew nothing. I had not seen a trailer. I read the sort of one-line description that comes up when you like pull up the film. To Casey's point, I was pleasantly surprised when sort of the actors start showing up on screen. Okay. I thought the production design was fun. So the titles play, and there's sort of this fun song, and I don't know, maybe this is
I like the music a lot.
The Gifted, I believe, was the credit for the music person. I don't know if that was like original music. I assume it's like a song that existed before this. But the way that the credit sequence and that the sort of it all flows into the opening title card and then into the actual film itself, I was totally in for. So the first like 5 minutes sort of set me on maybe higher expectations than I should have had.
John, real quick, just Rachel is watching us live and just texted me. It was Sisters of Mercy.
Oh, that song?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. No, I swear to God, the music credit in the very beginning says like music supervision, maybe by The Gifted, whatever. And yeah, I mean, I guess for me, ultimately, like to Casey's point, there's a lot of this movie punches above its weight from an acting sort of talent standpoint. There's a lot of like TV talent, but like solid. I feel like it was probably very small budget. They shot this thing in a couple of days in one setting. I just felt like the script was a complete /nightmare. I mean, just complete disaster.
It feels like maybe they lost pages before they started shooting.
I think it needed 3 more revisions.
Like, what's going on with the hole? Did they not tell us? Did I miss that?
No, they didn't. They don't tell you. I mean,
cool.
I don't know. Maybe
the place that shines. Duh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sort of okay with that. To me, the biggest issue.
Sometimes dead is better.
There's like there's a mix of too much plot and then sort of like not enough
with like important gaps that they should have filled in.
Yeah. The to me, I guess the biggest sin, if I had to pick one, and again I would point back to the script, I don't know who the main character of this movie is and who we're really supposed to care about and or be rooting for. Like, whose arc are we meant to be following? Now, there is a person who survives. There's one survivor, and so like by the end,
but they're like not the focus of the movie for a while, and then
No.
suddenly they are. It's the one,
And-
the wife who does not have kids.
correct. And you're given no real reason to care whether she lives or dies.
Right.
For most of the movie, I would have said Ben was the main character. He's the one who we are experiencing the something being wrong with the kids through.
See, and actually, but before that happens, it's even more the mom character because we spent a
Yeah.
lot of time learning about her kind of conflicts in world and stuff.
The fact that she like was in a
I loved that story. That was
like
amazing.
a swinging situation where her husband ended up not completing the swing and she did, and now they're like having a marital spat about it. Just so bizarre.
That was a great
So,
story.
yeah.
I was glad that the movie. I was like, oh, are they gonna just like tease this and not actually give me the story? And then she's like, okay, here it is. Pour another
Yeah.
drink, and then she gave the whole.
But that
was the best part of the
sequence
movie.
was 5 minutes longer than it needed to be.
No,
like
I
they could
coulda
have
gone 10
really
more.
trimmed it.
Um.
Eric wanted the full on, just like
Oh yeah, I could
you know,
have
just
gone more
gi-
details.
Give
it's
me the
fine.
gory details.
Dear Blumhouse.
I'm kind of in between you guys, I guess, in some ways. There's stuff I appreciate about this movie. You mentioned over email, John, hating the music. I very much enjoyed the music because for
Sorry,
me,
no, I did not say that. I was confused by the way they deployed the music
Well,
later in the film.
I think that they come from the Goblin school of horror movie music, which is loud shit for no reason because it's cool. And like
Yeah.
in a movie that otherwise is like kind of bland, I appreciate it when it's.
But in a
screamed at me.
Fulci movie, you expect that? Like,
Fulci did not.
why-
That was Argento, John.
oh yeah, sorry, sorry, I meant Argento. But like, why in this movie?
What's
It makes
Here's
no
what it is.
goddamn sense.
Here's what it is. The music feels out of place because visually it's pretty boring. And so it really the music is the only thing that's very like creatively stimulating about it. So it's like what like when it comes in you are like, holy shit, what is that? But whatever, it kept me awake, so I was into it. The best parts of this movie I think is all this interpersonal stuff. I mean it gets so tense it's almost hard to watch at some points.
Yeah.
Like just it's so awkward and brutal. But even the more subtle stuff in the beginning, like I thought that the couple with kids, I really liked both of those actors and their selling to me of their like marital tension worked really well. In particular, who this woman who now I know is from I know her from Silicon Valley. She's got some real great like emotional lines and sort of deliveries that she just does really well. And then, even when like her Pet Sematary kid shows up dead at some point, but psych, they're not dead. That she screams like in pain. It's like pretty brutal.
Dude.
It's a good performance.
Sorry, you should continue because I
Okay.
had a lot. I had some thoughts on this.
So the horror is so half baked and like cut together and jumbled together from other movies' plots, but then not even tied up. So it's not even like a lot of it makes sense. It almost ends and you're like, because you know me, I zone out sometimes, John, when I watch movies. So I'm like, do I ask if we found out what the deal with the hole was? Because I feel like I might have blinked and missed it. But apparently no, I didn't.
No, you
That's
didn't.
insane to give nothing about what's happening there.
It likes dead bodies to be thrown in it.
I don't
did
want.
get that.
I don't want to be a dick about child actors. The acting was fine, but like they're not scary. They're trying to be scary, which is not scary. Like there's a certain way to make kid actors threatening, and having them be like trying to act evil is not it. Like that's not.
I didn't think they were scary,
But they're
they
supposed. I mean, they're
were-
supposed to be though. Or like.
well, they were threatening, right? Like it was a lot of smiling and sort of
There are some good jump scares where they just like appear out of nowhere that are
Yeah.
decent. Like not not amazing. So I don't know. I wondered, is this supposed to be like a larger metaphor just about this generation's torture over whether or not to have kids, right? Like with this, they're gonna have the least kids. Gen Z is gonna have like the least kids of any American generation, and it's only gonna multiply from there. I've been reading a lot about population collapse recently, John, so this has been on my mind.
cool.
But that stuff actually rings really true to me personally. Like I had kids later than anyone else in my friend group, and so I'm very familiar with that kind of. I wouldn't say it's always tension, but there's just a weird disconnect when you're the couple without kids. Like, as much as you try to stay connected and stay friends, you are on divergent paths where, like, you just have different understandings of the world. That's not a judgment towards any one side or the other. It's just true. Like, your life experiences change drastically. And so they're actually, in that way, the script feels very contemporary to me, that part of it, in an interesting way. And I don't know, I was intrigued by some of the ideas they're exploring. And that made me think,
the children
like, that made
actually were evil, though.
Well, right, but that made me think, like, is what's going on in this movie a larger metaphor about having kids? I don't really know, because I'm not smart enough, but or it's just not clear enough.
Casey, text Rachel.
One or the other. Well, I know, right? She'd have a theory. But anyway, so that stuff's the best stuff. The horror is really blah, and then it just kind of ends, and you forget about most of it, like, right after.
There's almost no violence on the screen.
Right.
Like this,
people just turn up dead.
It's not rated. It says not rated, at least on IMDb, and I don't mean whatever. That's fine. It doesn't matter one way or the other. But it's weird because in that sequence you're talking about, Eric, like they make this whole big show of her saying, "And we fucked," and like emphasizing the use of the F word.
There is an F
so
word
I was
there.
sort of like, okay, cool.
Well, when it's
like,
going to
you don't
streaming,
swear.
But when it's going to streaming, does it even matter? Like,
I don't think it does. But this clearly isn't meant for, younger horror viewers. So why is the horror so muted? Like, why not?
I tell you why. It's because they are leaning super hard on that Hollywood classic monster movie formula where you never show your monster. Their whole agenda hinges on that because they're only giving us blurry views and like shadows of what's actually, what the kids actually are and everything, and they're leaning so hard on that that they can't show us the violence because we're going to be able to see what's happening to the monsters, and they're trying to ramp up the violence with the damage that's done to them and stuff. Because if you compare like with Amanda Cruz and you see some of the wounds she had, and then once you get an idea of what's going on from the shadows, it's like, okay, you can kind of put two and two together. And not saying it's effective. I think that's what they're trying to do.
I would lump this in with like some of these other movies we've been seeing that are almost like, occasionally we'll see these, it's like Hollywoodized, like fake elevated horror. It's like they think just writing a script about a bunch of human shit makes it elevated horror, and then they just forget the genre stuff, and it's just like very flat.
We don't even, so the dad, Thomas, Carlos Santos, the actor, he goes off into the woods. We don't even see what happens to him or see his
He does
dead
completely
body.
disappear. Yeah, you're right.
I just assume he had 2 days to be on set.
Maybe, John, can you open a beer just by punching it on the table?
I actually can do that.
Oh, I've never done
Yeah,
that.
that's kind of Midwest
Not that like hard to do. So Eric, the point you made about the human interactions, I was sick to my stomach during the sequence where they are getting into the big sort of blowout where they end up basically not being friends anymore.
That argument is the shit. It is insane.
This is actually, I think, one of the arguments for why Ellie and Ben are brother and sister. You just can't talk like that to friends. Like, you would never say something like that to someone who's not your brother.
But man, they go in. It's crazy. Like, scorched earth.
Everybody. It's all four of them. I mean, Margaret is the only one who doesn't, and maybe that's why she
doesn't want to have kids with you. And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, and it
your
starts
kids are
with him.
Assholes or whatever he was saying.
Yeah, he starts to like tell the story. Oh well, you think you're such like great parents, but
he's like, what are you running around having a foursome? And then he goes, oh, I'm sorry, a 2.5-some or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Just
amazing,
brutal. But so that sequence was
a brutal line though, because that's when the married couple now knows that all their business has been circulated, right? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
No, I mean, it's brutal. Like, I just don't know what the hell is that doing in this. Like, this is when I say the script is uneven. It has these weird peaks and valleys in it. And that's like this extremely elevated moment that comes at, I guess that's like the midway point of the film, and that sort of sets them on this path. Now the kids have divided them essentially and can begin to pick them off. The other piece to me,
for purposes, question mark?
yeah, well, for the whole needs bodies.
It's a good movie with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, that's Holes. Excuse me.
Okay.
Would you say you want the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
This was a sequel to that.
So, the other scene that to me, I think it kind of ruins the movie is when the son gets killed, because so it's been set up that because we see the kids jump into the hole, we see with Ben, but then they're not in the hole, and so that sort of kickstarts his is he crazy or not? He gets into this fight with the son over the fireplace scooper and hits him in the throat with it. I'm not a doctor. Seems unlikely to be fatal, but it does kill him.
Well, you didn't even get him in the throat, did he? You got him in the stomach, I thought.
I thought it got him in like the throat. I mean, I guess if you hit a kid hard enough in the throat, it'll kill him. I haven't tested this or anything.
I thought it was the stomach because that's what made me think, really?
It was like the Damar Hamlin, hit him in the chest, like right at the right time.
Yeah.
That sequence though ends up being so emotionally loaded. Like, so that kid is meant to be 9, which is the same age as my son, and like I was just like, I don't need to see this. Like, why am I watching the sequence of this boy dying? The mom, to your point, like, solid acting job, goes through the emotions of losing a child in a fairly gripping and terrible way. I'm not here to, when I say that
I'm not here for your
music,
human emotions, lady. I'm on board with you, by the way. It's a lot.
The production design and like the way they use the music is like, look, we're a fun, like campy movie, and like we're gonna have a monster, good time. No, then you're gonna like watch a child die and his mom experience grief. It's just, I don't know, that it to me, that's when I was like, fuck this movie. Like I'm just like, what are we doing here?
That's a good point. They linger on these emotional moments and whatnot, which for a different type of movie would probably be acceptable. But when they're focusing over long on those emotional moments and that whole sequence with the kid dying and stuff, and then we see not a damn thing of what happens to their parents, makes it pretty disappointing. Because that's what we're here to see, right? We're watching a horror movie.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not, all of the genre stuff is mostly off screen, and instead it's this roller coaster ride of people getting into really nasty fights and kids getting killed.
The lead up to that too, where he's trying to help the kid, but he's like hitting him, and you're like, oh, this is gonna go so bad. It's like that. Remember that show, The Slap?
Yeah.
It was like a whole like drama on NBC or so. It was on a network where like the whole idea is that they're all in the pilot. They're all at a party, and like some kid's being a dick, and one of the other adults, it's not his parents, slaps him, and that's the whole concept of the show. It's just like how these friends fall apart after the slap happens.
That was like a television drama.
It was a miniseries, I think.
Program.
Oh, okay. I was like, how can you possibly stretch that into more than a few episodes?
It was a crime procedural.
I think we see a lot of fall apart in this movie because of the way they handle the parents. Like with the dad, sorry, here, let me look again.
Thomas.
What was his name? Yeah, Thomas. Thomas just obviously, and I thought he was pretty good acting wise throughout this movie. I was pretty gripped by him, especially when he started getting pissed off with Ben and whatnot. And then all of a sudden he just disappears.
Gone.
And the same thing happens with the mom. Which we find out, and we can drop spoiler alerts here if you want, but as we find out what's going on more and more with what the kids happening to the kids and what's happening with the whole, it's when we see what happens, the ultimate outcome
what isn't
of Ben.
Happening with that hole?
Right. It's the ultimate outcome of Ben. So they're obviously trying to get people out of the hole into our world. Why wouldn't they use the parents? It would be a whole different movie.
Wait, you think people are coming out of the hole?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, potentially.
Well, not people, but things are coming back out of the hole, opposed to some people, right?
Well, so and this is one of the problems of the movie. The movie plays around with characters and like the reality of what they're actually seeing, Whereas, like,
Yeah.
I'm with Casey. I think you can make an argument that they actually do jump in that hole, and then something else evil crawls out, like Pet Cemetery.
yeah,
style.
sure, fine.
Yeah.
I mean, their eyes
But
glow.
but the movie goes to great lengths to show you, like, maybe they didn't see that. So then you're just left to question what any of it is.
Well,
And we know,
Yeah, I
and
think-
we
'cause
know
I
it
think you could
affected Ben,
also-
not that, but
You could also make the argument that they literally just looked in the hole and that turned them evil, which is dumb.
yeah,
it definitely, they looked in the hole and it made them want to go jump in the hole, which
Right.
that doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, whatever. I guess anything can happen. But this is when I was saying earlier, the script just needed, like, these are the things where it's like you just didn't think all this stuff through all the way.
Yeah.
Because the kids, in my mind, the reality of the film, they're never not evil. It's just that no one believes Ben, and Ben is the only one who knows. We see them, like, we see the eyes glowing. Like, they do the eye glowing thing. It's like there's no question on the part of the audience. It's just on the part of the other parents. I don't know.
One more thing. So there's this other
Yeah.
effect where they're kind of like bugs, sort of, like, or like claw, like
Yes.
crabs.
praying mantises.
Like,
that's
yes.
what
Yeah,
I
I
got.
Well,
think
like,
he's-
and you see
Although the
it.
one, yeah.
You see one almost cool effect only in silhouette, where there's like the kid's like a weird tentacle claw monster thing, and then but you never see it. You only see it in silhouette, and then all they do is add this sound effect in anytime the kids are slinking around, which just made me mad because I'm like, it doesn't make me think they're monsters if you're not gonna show me, if you're not gonna like legit
Right.
show me.
They also talk in the little bug language.
Yeah.
You know, the
Well, I mean,
evil ground,
Rachel brought-
the evil ground praying mantises that come out. When
When
you fall
Rachel
in the hole.
tweeted me originally, she brought this up, but they're going for a Lovecraft angle. Here's what they're going for, but they're
Well, like,
falling way short
if you
because
don't
there's
have
an
the-
art to setting that stuff up.
Listen, man, if you don't have the money to do it, though, that's a real rough road to try to.
Yeah.
I feel like.
But they're trying to go for the whole cosmic horror, fear of the unknown thing, and you don't know what is
Well, I
happening.
think, and
but
I think the problem with that is that the movie's not weird enough. Like the movie's,
Exactly.
the movie's got to be weird enough to make you feel that like induced psychosis. That's like the whole deal of the Lovecraft thing.
yeah, and
Eric,
we
there
don't.
was a couple of shots that were 30% off kilter. Did you know?
Yeah,
You missed
That's why
this?
that Nick Cage movie works because it's so bizarre. You're like, well, I'm crazy now too. That's like what
Yeah.
a Lovecraft movie has to do.
What,
But the-
are you- which
The
one? are
one
you
where he
talking about?
melds into his wife or some shit. What was that movie?
Color Out of Space.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like you could have been referencing 5 different movies right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, like, insanity and mental craziness is a big part of the cosmic horror stuff too, which they tried to establish some with Ben to offset that. But we don't find out that he's got problems until halfway through the movie, and it's just kind of casually mentioned to the side.
Yeah.
There's you see his drug bottle. The kid steals the drug bottle. I mean, they pull it in, but yeah.
But that's like 45, 50 minutes in.
It's deeper than it should be. There's like a weird reference at one point in a conversation between Margaret and Ben that kind of goes.
I mean, the way to do that
unremarked
is
upon each
like,
time.
there's got to be some kind of conversation early on in that movie where that guy and his wife like acknowledge that he's having problems. You can't
Yeah.
just bring it up in the moment that you want to capitalize on it.
Or there's a mention between the sister and the wife at the very beginning of the movie of the wife saying, "Oh, thank you for coming up here and spending the weekend with us. He's been so upset since he lost his job, since he went manic."
Dude,
and that would have taken
well,
care of it.
Right. I mean, right. In some, yeah, that would do it for sure. Here's what I don't understand, John.
Yeah.
If the one swinging couple is like going at it, right? Like, and then you're the other pair in the corner, like, why, once they're going to town, why not give it a go? What are we waiting for here? Just dive in. That's what you're already here. That
Unless it
seems
could.
crazy to me.
The body
They
wants
didn't
what the
say
body
that.
wants, Eric. I don't know, man.
I mean, it could be a failure to.
I'm not sure if that's
Why
the
not
same,
give it a
but-
little slap and tickle, John?
Yeah.
Just see where it goes. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no comment. I have no experience in these matters, so I can't speak to it. But I tend to agree with you. Like, you've come this far. Like,
Exactly.
what are you doing?
Exactly.
Eric, I had nice things to say earlier about the production design choices. The other one I was going to mention is I like the girl's hoodie. The sort of like,
The
it's
devil hoodie.
it's like fun and playful, but then it can be a little cheeky and evil too. You
okay, I
were
gotcha.
having what I would describe as a hissy fit about the color
This
of
movie
people's
is
skin while
ugly,
you were watching
is
this movie.
ugly as shit. Okay, so I've talked about this show before. This is a real thing. You can look up articles on the internet about how for the past however many years, the obsession in Hollywood has been these it's an orange and teal basically like filter that you lay over the whole film in post in digitally, and it takes any color and basically like bends it towards one of those hues. The idea that there's supposedly some like color theory behind it, that like orange and teal are the two highest contrast colors from each other in the color wheel, and so it's supposed to be like more visually stimulating or some bullshit. But it's like once you go look up an article and look at it, and once you see it, you will literally never unsee it. It's the fucking craziest thing. And what it does is it turns everybody's skin like a little orangey. It turns all clothes and stuff like any darker color like really blue. It's driving me insane. Like, because I can't unsee it now, I see it everywhere. This is the most orange movie I have ever seen. I started posting screenshots on Twitter and Instagram. There are legit now. When done right, it's kind of subtle, right? And you really have to take a step back, almost like Magic Eye style, and be like, "Oh, I see." Like, it's an overall hue thing. This movie, I swear, I sent you guys that one shot. There is not a single pixel on the screen that is not orange. Like, she's in that bathroom. Holy shit! It is so I mean, it's making movies so ugly. In fact, the only movie I've seen in years that didn't like aggressively do this is that Matrix movie from last year, because they made, and it's there's a little bit of it, but they really made an effort to make that like very colorful. Like, there's lots of reds and like different colors in that movie. Just an aside, because I saw it recently, but it is egregious.
It's the only one. No one else has made that choice.
It is no. I mean, I challenge you to find another. It is.
Eric,
I'll tell you what.
Look,
I'll tell you what. Here's another movie that didn't do it. Mad God. Mm-hmm. Phil Tippett's Mad God did not do it.
Because he started making it 30 years ago and they didn't know about teal and orange.
I just have to say, like, I would give My Kingdom for a movie that uses the full color spectrum, because it is a travesty what's happening to the color of movies.
Well, some of that's got to be, though, for going for kind of a throwback effect, right?
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't. Movies didn't used to do that.
No, but it kind of makes it look a little more like a 70s, 80s exploitation, especially when you combine it with the other production design elements, like the title screen of this movie.
I disagree, because 70s movies were washed out. That was kind of the predominant look of the 70s movies because of the way the film was being processed.
I was going to ask Pearl. I remember not being, I don't know.
You might be right that it wasn't that aggressive on Pearl, but I'd have to look.
Yeah.
I'd have to have it in front of me. It was
terrible.
I
don't know. I did not have a strong. I accused Eric of messing with his color settings.
I have
when
evidence.
He sent those screenshots. So.
I have evidence.
Yeah.
Multiple monitors. Yeah.
Put it this way: it was not the thing I noticed while I was watching this movie. So.
It was the only thing I noticed for the first 30 minutes.
I was too busy trying to keep up with all of the nonsense. So yeah. Is there something wrong with the children? I think so.
Seems that way.
It's true, John. It's true. Do you have those friends, John, that don't have kids? Are you jealous of them?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Not a ton. I know a couple folks, though.
Yeah, you're in the city. That's where all the childless heathens live.
Yeah, well, it's... I mean, this is... Like, obviously, we know a lot of people have kids because our kids go to school, and we know all of those people. But the other thing that I always... And Casey, don't... no offense, but people have one kid. I'm like... This is a joke. Like, what are you doing here? Like, this is...
Well, you're like a Quaker. You're trying to repopulate the earth or some shit. Like, calm down over there. I will say the irony is
Eric,
that...
I'm fighting population collapse, okay?
Well, I don't care. I don't care what happens to the population, so it's fine. I will say that the irony is that before I had kids, I did nothing but waste time all the time. Since having kids... Man, I get an hour of free time, and I am, like, planning that shit out. Like, I've never enjoyed free time so much in my life. Like, it really makes you appreciate the small things.
Yeah, it does.
My kids are finally starting to get a little more self-sufficient, and that's helping a lot.
Yeah. I mean, mine too, but they still they're still up my ass.
Yeah, you can laugh at my one all you want, but she's good.
No, I think one's the way to go, or none. It's fine.
Oh no, I'm just jealous, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. It's like, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
Would you recommend There's Something Wrong with the Children, John?
No.
Casey?
Would not.
I would say yes conditionally because I got B-movie vibes from it.
Eric? No. I'm going to also say no. Maybe 15 years ago, where there was not as much horror, I could recommend this movie. But like, there's no excuse. I feel like to just be wasting your time on a shitty horror movie. Like, there's so much shit out there.
Where do you stack this against Hates?
Go watch Phil Tippett's Mad God, which has all of the colors of the rainbow in it.
Oh my god. Yeah, fair enough.
There you go.
Hates versus Children. Where are you going?
Oh,
Which you
Hates.
can only...
Hates all
Wow.
day. Hell yeah. That was like a decent...
Elizabeth Shue was in that movie as well.
Hates was a decent little thriller. It was fine. It's got J-Law in it. Come on, John.
I think you might want to check that one out again. Come
Check
back to
the
me.
facts on that one.
Yeah.
All right, you dinguses.
Check your receipts.
That's a 2 thumbs down and 1 thumb half up from the BGH crew on this movie. I can't remember it again. I've done it enough times.
No,
Let's
you got there.
take a quick break and do some fan mail.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or on Twitter using hashtag AskBGH. Join Patreon to get back episodes and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
And we're back. info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address. John,
Yes.
tax season's coming up. You know, people are finally getting out from under those Christmas bills. I would say it might be a good time to support your favorite podcast out there. Just a bunch of
Not tax deductible though. I'm sorry.
just a bunch of dudes and ladies out here giving you the horror goods every week. Big shout out to those people supporting us right now. I know, you know, things are tough out there for people, but we appreciate you. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror if you want to get in on that. So here's what you get. You get a weekly video live stream. John, I've often been told that we are not as ugly as people thought we would be when they tune into the show. So
Catch me on the wrong day.
get some of that action. That streams on YouTube. You get that link every week as we're recording. You also can get, some tiers get full access to all the back episodes, potentially going back to episode 1 through 10, some of the worst podcasting that's ever happened. Man, some of those older ones are like a real trip. At the lowest level, you can get in and get just the BGH podcast feed. That'll give you these episodes early. That'll give you a weekly classic. That'll give you Whitney's spinoff show. And there's an archive in there of all the old spinoff shows. The Eric shows, Something Red, Casey, Cinema Fromage, and everything that's ever been done there. And Sophistical, which is a fun thing that Andy and Shelton used to do, where they reviewed movies. Also, access to our Slack community. Who would have guessed, John? Slack. Still going strong, 2023.
Yep.
Power.
There's a thriving community there. We add people pretty regularly that jump in and become members of the family over there. And join our Tiki Weed channel on Slack, where you could talk about either weed or tiki stuff.
Two great flavors that go great together.
Do you know the origins of that channel, John?
Vaguely.
It was originally the Eric Show channel.
Oh, okay.
And then
I didn't know that.
somebody cracked a joke in there one day. They were like, because they know I hate tiki. They were like, I'm gonna talk about tiki every day until Eric brings the show back.
Mm.
So then we just changed it to tiki, and then at some point weed came in. I don't know.
And then you left the channel.
It's mostly weed. No, it's mostly weed at this point. So I'm back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In fact,
But
it's
there's
really
only
good.
so much tiki news to go around.
If you need to like crowdsource, like, hey,
That is
where?
true.
If you need to crowdsource a good, like, hey, where can I get some like Delta 9 or something? Like, everybody, they got you covered in there, John. Hop in.
They're selling weed in New York City now.
Yeah.
They opened up our first dispensary. It's like overrun. You got to wait in line. Like,
New York City.
I wonder if any of the upstates are open. I just honestly, I am an hour from Lee, Massachusetts. It has a lovely little dispensary right off the highway, and that's where I go.
Eric, they're gonna open one of these days in like Kingston or fucking, Hudson, and you and I are just gonna have to meet there.
That might
Should be like, it's like an hour south of you, an hour north
okay.
of me. Well,
Okay.
we can make that happen.
We can do that. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror to get more of us, John. Enough people join, I'll turn it into OnlyFans. I'll just start sending out pics. I don't care. I'll do it.
I will not be doing that.
I've been working out. Let's get it. All right. info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address. First up, Caitlin from Kissimmee. Her email just says, uh-oh, and there's a picture, like a poster that says Insidious 4, Fear of the Dark.
Yeah.
I think 4?
Yeah, well, there's been 3. That's James Wan. That's the whatever atomic.
Is he coming back?
Machine. What did I say it was called?
Atomic Monster.
Atomic Monster. Yeah, there you go.
Next up, Whitney. Here's an update in the BGH Book Club. They'll be shifting to a new format. We will be spending 2 months on one book. This will give participants more time to read and discuss on Slack and Reddit. We will also be setting up a form for participants to submit questions and discussion topics. Keep an eye out for that link soon. As a reminder, our January February book is Devolution by Max Brooks. Didn't he do World War Zombie, or WWZ?
World War Z.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the third thing?
De-evolution is a Bigfoot related.
I don't know.
Oh. Casey, settle down.
I know.
Last up, another one from Caitlin and Kissimmee. Sick is the first movie I've ever wikied to see if it was as shitty as it looked, and I am so happy I did. So sad you wasted an episode on this movie. I think it's time for some staff picks or something maybe fun to watch and get lost watching. Maybe anything at all ever. Dr. Giggles never got its fair shake. Literally anything else. We actually are cooking up something fun for episode 700, which will be dropping the end of March, I think. So a little 2 months. But this, what, I don't know. We could have done.
I thought Sick was fine. I mean, we've watched way worse stuff.
I'll be
than
honest.
Sick.
I went sick. What is sick? What was sick?
It's not a good sign when
What is sick?
36 hours later you're kind of like.
Give me one sentence for sick.
Pandemic horror. Or pandemic strangers.
It was the movie we watched last week. I assume you're just kidding, so I'm not going to indulge you right now. But
I know I saw it last week. I'm literally trying to recall it right now.
Mark Menchuk.
the guy from
the lady was like,
Ozark.
"You can't get in my car until you put your mask on." You know what's hilarious? I've seen that twice because I watched it with Elizabeth too. I couldn't remember. Anyway,
a little too much of that, whatever that tiki and weed situation.
that's it for emails. What's on Twitter, Casey?
We got 2 tweets out there tonight. First one comes up from @Schnecky91. What is the creepiest thing a kid or even your own kid has said to you? I was teasing my daughter's friend one time and said that I was going to hang her upside down and tickle her. She said that she was going to chop me up and feed me to her pigs.
What? I don't think any kids ever said anything creepy to me before. What about you, John?
They've definitely said creepy shit. I don't know. They're like, kids say so much shit. You just lose track.
I don't know about creepy, but I was at a birthday party with my daughter a couple weeks ago, and this friend of hers that she was playing with all day, when I said, "It's time to go now, so let's get our jacket on," her friend said, "You don't have to listen to him." And I've never committed homicide before, but I was considering it.
Wow.
The nerve. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
By the way, I'd also spent a bunch of money to let this kid play some games because their parents were not around. That's what I get for being nice, John.
Yeah. That does not surprise me.
All right. And actually, I'm going to leave that with one tweet because we have another tweet from @Whitney, please, but it's the same discussion. So, what do we got on Instagram, Eric?
There you go. You know what I'm watching lately, John?
Mm.
White Lotus.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That show fucks.
Like literally,
It's
actually.
it's
Which are you
incredible.
doing? Season 1 or 2?
So we're just banging our way through it. We finished season 1. We're like 2 episodes into season 2, which is great so far.
It's very good. It's a beautiful show.
I'm obsessed with the theme, with the musical themes and motifs. And
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
They're so good.
it's the production design in general. Like it's gorgeously shot. It's very well realized as a television production. Yeah.
I need to get caught up on that one so we can watch the second season with Aubrey Plaza.
Man, it's amazing.
They're completely unrelated. Like you could just go straight to the second season.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aubrey Plaza having a little. There's a little.
She's great, and
Plaza.
you know,
I don't know what you want to call that. Yeah.
She's playing out a character too on that show, which is like, super interesting.
She was pretty great hosting SNL, and I sent you guys the video. But there's, if you're out there listening, from Aubrey Plaza hosting SNL, there is a pretty great Megan skit.
So what I will say is, there's also a White Lotus skit that don't watch because it has a ton of spoilers. Like,
do you guys want my Megan review actually? Because I watched it over the weekend.
Yes, please.
Now that it's streaming,
I want nothing more.
I was a little underwhelmed.
Well, you'd also had to sit through all the positive reactions to it. I feel like
The hype definitely got me to a point where I was like, "Oh, this must be amazing." It is very good. I saw it's the director who directed Homebound. Do you guys remember that movie?
Yep.
Vaguely.
I fucking love that movie. He's new. I think New Zealand. I think he's a Kiwi.
Sounds
right.
Sounds right.
It does have a very it has a fun vibe to it.
Yeah, it does.
Megan, I was hoping for a little more, robot killing people. Basically, is what I was hoping for.
There is a R-rated cut that's probably going to come out. This was Peach cut. They cut it because, they
show a child getting hit by a car, but then they won't let Megan rip a dude's face off.
I swear I heard they cut it because it was blowing up. When it was blowing up on social in a way that was leading them to believe that there's a huge teen audience they were potentially leaving behind if they did go R, so they cut it last minute apparently.
Someone I was talking to at work was like, "Do you think they could do?" There's definitely gonna be a sequel. I mean, maybe they've already announced a sequel.
There's been stories about it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I assume there's the scene where the guy who's stealing the intellectual property that has virtually nothing to do with the entire movie, except that I assume that's the tee up for the sequel.
Megan though is now living inside of the Amazon Echo or whatever. So she just needs a body and then she can just come back. That's Child's Play 2 style. Yeah. Child's Play 2, they fire the good guy factory back up, they make the dolls again, and he's reincarnated basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was good. It was fun. I was sort of I had a good time. I'm not sad I watched it, but I was also like,
Fun fact, John, it's my current #1 movie of 2023.
Yeah.
This is what, our third movie?
Pay no mind to the fact that I only have a #1 and a #10 currently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There you go. Instagram.
Yes.
I thought you started with White Lotus. I thought that was Instagram related. But...
Fill in the blank with your first thought. There's something wrong with blank.
Eric.
My stomach.
I said my bones. My bones. And then I put a little skeleton guy dancing, John, because it's Instagram and you can do that. I'm a social media maven.
You are. No, that's true.
Long time Rory, or Prisoner Abel, as you may remember. He writes in almost every week. I just don't always read the names. What colors do you prefer your films to be? My answer was, I don't know, some other colors, multiple colors, not just 2.
More the better.
I hate it so much. Joe House of Horror says, at least the soundtrack was interesting.
What was the name of the band, Casey?
Sisters of Mercy.
Joe, this guy Joe John lives in Salem, Massachusetts, and I met him once. We had lunch. He's a cool guy. Yeah, their House of Horror, I guess, is his show. Let me see. The Horror Squad podcast.
Nice.
While we're talking about annoying filters, can we agree that the OG Suspiria is meh? That's Dan.
Ooh.
Bold position, Dan, but I like it. And I agree. It's decent. The remake is much better. That's been my position for a while now.
I think I'm on record that Argento in general is pretty overrated, but
He's got some real good stuff, but even the good stuff is like barely held together by scotch tape and string. Like even the good stuff feels ready to just unravel any second, but I like his stuff for the same reason I like Fulci stuff, and that I feel like he's nuts, and I dig that.
And look, I
like art by crazy, like legit crazy people.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that is not to downplay the impact or the sort of like
Hugely
cultural moment that he
influential.
tapped into.
Yeah.
It just, watching it now, I don't know that it all holds up.
Question, John. So here's like if I was trying to get a horror fan into Argento, I might start them out with Opera. Have you ever seen Opera?
I don't think so. I think I've only seen of the sort of like OG classics, Tenebrae, and then Suspiria.
Tenebrae Fox and Suspiria. So I would be like, so Opera was like early 90s, late 80s, and it's much more slashery. It's a lot more accessible. It's still one of those, but it's a lot more accessible. What's another good one?
I'd have to go through.
I'm kind of obsessed with Inferno. I really love Inferno. Was a sequel to Suspiria. It's like a lot of the same surrealistic
I've
stuff,
seen
but
Inferno
better.
too.
We might have done a show on it.
Yeah, we did. I'm almost positive.
In fact, that may have been an Eric staff pick. Now that I think about it.
Definitely don't start him with that Dracula movie.
No.
Yeah.
Or Mother of Tears.
No, sir.
Or any of the other movies that he's made over the last 10 years or whatever.
No, nothing nothing modern whatsoever. Yeah.
Yeah, go back to the 90s at least.
I also love Phenomena, which stars a very young Jennifer Connelly. It was actually her first acting gig. That was known as Creepers in the US in its original release. That's a weird one, though. I don't know if you'd like that. Oh,
Jeepers.
You know who else is in Creepers? Donald Pleasance. Plays a doctor. So you got some good confluence of stars there, John.
Yeah.
But
I do like that.
Yeah. Here's this week's plot twist, John. That was the last question. Now,
son of a bitch.
You know why that's thematic? Because next week we're reviewing an M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie.
Oh, snap. Is that coming out this weekend?
I think so.
Yo.
Cabin, what is it? Cabin at the End of the World?
Knock at the door.
Knock at the door.
Cabin at the End of the World is the book.
Okay, and it was renamed. I heard that the movie was called that until like not too long ago that they renamed it or something.
Yeah.
Mark of BGH fame G-chatted me today. He wanted to make sure that everyone knew that this just looked like a ripoff of Cabin in the Woods, and he was upset about it. He's not wrong.
Can you tell him to come on the show? Like, that's like...
I don't even try anymore, honestly, but,
I don't think they're too much related. I haven't read the book yet, but to my knowledge, it's more apocalyptic than anything.
Well, that's what Cabin in the Woods is. I think the point being the main premise of both things is you have to be sacrificed so the world doesn't end.
That is based on what I've seen in the trailer. I'm worried that I've already seen too much from this knock at the door or whatever.
Dave Bautista says that in the trailer.
Yeah.
He's like, you must be sacrificed or the world will end.
Verbatim.
Now, does Sigourney Weaver get murdered by a werewolf at the end? Remains to be seen. No, she can't. She can't. She's stuck in Navi world or whatever. No, she died, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember if she died or not, actually.
No, she's alive.
Yeah, she's stuck in...
she's one of the main characters of the second one.
She's stuck in James Cameron's mocap basement somewhere right now. Like, she's never getting out until she dies. Sorry,
just
Sigourney.
cashing them James Cameron checks.
Sorry, Sigourney Weaver. It's been real. You can't cash checks when he won't let you go home, John.
Well,
that's not how that works. Actually, that's not true. Okay. You can do it right on your phone now.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can't do much fun with the money when he won't let you go home. I
No,
guess
no.
Oh,
that's
let's
more-
face it. Sigourney gets a direct deposit. Right. She's a classy lady.
Direct deposit. I like the idea of direct deposit as being classy. I like that. No check cashing store for this maven of movies.
Nah. I should have went modern instead of classy, but that's what came out.
So are you gonna make this, John?
I'm gonna try.
Love it. I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down for more theater. Like we're just pretending the pandemic isn't real. Let's just get back into the theater. I don't care. I need it.
Pandemic's over, bro. Didn't the government announce that?
Pandy's over. I need more theater in my life. You know, I need more
I feel you.
people. I need more like post movie conversations of people who apparently just went into horror movies because they had nothing better to do, but hate horror movies and just are so mad because that's like one of my favorite things.
Honestly, half the movies that are coming to theaters now are horror
Yeah.
movies because it's the only shit people turn
Yeah.
out for.
The highlight of my year so far is that lady after the menu who said that was a waste of 90 minutes. I'll never get back. Just livid.
Oh man.
So yeah,
That's
that's next week. Knock at the
Okay.
door.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's fucking, can we just go? I know I used to complain about dumb one-word movies titles, but they help me actually. They're a little easier for me if I'm being honest. Can we go back to that?
KATD.
Katie. Kate D.
Katie
Catted.
did.
Katie did.
Catted.
There you go. Hates.
Yeah.
All right. Don't forget to check us out, patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back next week.
See you.
Bye-bye.